welcome back to another video on how to create order in your home. So in the last video, I talked about getting the whole family involved and how creating order in a home is really an opportunity for the whole family to decide what sort of environment is going to work best for them, what sort of environment they feel good in, and then working together to make that happen and the benefits that has for adults as well as children. So today we're going to focus a little bit less on the specifics of physical order in the home, and we're going to talk more about routines and schedules. The thing is, routines and schedules are very much tied to physical order. The two very much go together, specifically routines, because the routines that we have in place, the practices that we consistently act out from the beginning of our day to our end each day of the week, is really part of maintaining order in the home. So let's talk about a few ways that this works. So let's say that after your family conversation, your daughter or son decided that this would be, the next to the couch would be kind of their study area when they come home after school and after they've maybe had a snack or whatever, they start their homework. So this is the way it looks. So they've decided to keep some books. This is just an old gelato container with pencils and other materials that they might need to work on homework. Obviously, the books that I have here are going to be different than what your son or daughter are bringing home. So you've already decided as a family, and specifically the person that's going to be using that space has decided how they want it to look. Well, now is where the routine comes into play to support that physical space and vice versa. So one of the types of routines that can be very beneficial for whole families is a homework routine, because homework is a reality for most children and some adults. So even if it's just, working on things after work. So say your child comes home and it's really difficult after a full day of school to just dive right into homework. So a small break, like a 15-20 minute break, is what I would recommend as a teacher. To have a snack, not just start playing yet, because it's almost like a total shift in mindset, and then to start playing for 20 minutes and have to go back to your homework, ugh. I mean, every child is a little bit different, and you need to do what works best for your family, but I would test out, if you're looking for a place to start, a 15-minute snack break. So the babes come home, grab something from the snack area, something that you maybe set up together. So they grab a cheese stick or an apple or whatever, fruit snacks, Goldfish, and they plop wherever they've decided to do their study time. Saying that's if they get home at 4, so 4:15 they start their homework every day, and that's set. Not 4:15 on the minute, but between 4:10 and 4:20. That's how tight you want that to be. So they start working in their spot. Now, that routine and that space are working together in that situation, because the order is kind of adding to the reinforcement of the routine. And then part of the routine is, as your daughter is working, when she's done with a book, she put it back on the shelf. When she's done with a pencil, she puts it back in the gelato container, whatever you have available. And so that's something you work on together to establish. So that's how the physical space and the routines of everyday life go together and create this sense of order in the home. So let's talk about specifically some routines that you might want to think about in your family. Routines are most helpful for transitions. So waking up, getting ready, going to a new space. So like when you're coming down for breakfast, and then leaving from the house to school, coming from school to home, homework, hours, like a play routine, any sort of classes in there, sports, And then a bedtime routine, not only for for children, but parents as well. So important. I talked about you. Oftentimes, in order for those routines to function smoothly, there has to be physical order as well. So for example, for your daughter to be able to sit at the couch and start her homework, it's important that all those books and resources are there every time she sits down, right? Which is her responsibility. So you can see how the physical order and the structure of activities go together. So for example, in the morning, if it's a routine to wake up at 6 and get dressed, well, it's important that your son knows how to get himself dressed and that everything's where it needs to be. So it's important that the jeans are in the jean drawer and the socks are in the sock drawer. And that's again how those things kind of go. So at this point, in starting to talk about routines, it's often a trigger for a lot of parents, again, especially for moms, because all of a sudden it feels like you're being attacked and judged, and like somebody's telling you, you are not doing a good enough job. You really need to work on making sure that blah, 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 blah. And you are busy telling yourself that most of the time. And so to hear somebody else come in and add more guilt just feels really gross. So if that's the way you're feeling right now, great, one more thing for me to do. I'm never going to be able to do that. That's ridiculous. That's just, crazy. That's not the reality of having children. You're not alone. And it's absolutely okay to feel that way. What I want to invite you to do is give yourself grace and recognize why you feel that way. Think about the pressure that you've taken in because you have so many sources telling you this is the way you should parent, right? So many sources telling you try this, do this, make sure. And a lot of times the advice you're getting contradicts one another. Like there's no way for me to check off all the boxes to be a good mom or a good dad or a good parent. So take a moment, because this is a great opportunity when you're talking about order to decide who you really want to be as a family and what is important and what isn't. And the reality is that's going to look different for all of us. So let me tell you the story of one mom that I know who's found a schedule that works well. Okay, so this is in this family, there's a mother and a father, and then they have a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old little girl and a 5-year-old little boy. It's kindergarten this year. So in this family, the parents have decided together and with the input of their children, they know their children really well, have a great relationship with them, but they're still pretty young, but they've decided as a family that having a peaceful morning and having a peaceful evening where they get to spend family time, where a home-cooked meal is something that they have most of the time for nutritional reasons and just the bonding experience. And they want to make sure that parents have time together in the afternoon. Now, in this family, they very much care about education, so there's time for homework for the kindergartner and just reading with the baby. And there's also desire to expose the kindergartner to some outside activities. So there's sometimes, not always, one activity going at a time. So like they'll do karate once a week, or soccer once a week, or swimming once a week. And so what their family routine looks like, because they've decided these are the things we want to do. And we don't want to do these things because somebody else is telling us these are what our kids should do. Because there are kids telling them they're doing too much, they're doing too little, they're not focusing on the right things, they're too worried, they're not worried enough, blah, 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 blah. you know how it goes. So, but they have decided as a family, these are the things we want to do because this is what makes us feel good. This is what we enjoy. And so, making that decision, they've built a structure and physical routines for their house that support that goal that they have together as a family. So every morning they wake up. Dad is usually out of the house early, so mom wakes up at 5:30 or 6 with her alarm. She gets up and she goes into the room of her 5-year-old and the baby, and oh, good morning, and gives them a kiss, takes care of baby's diaper, and the 5-year-old is on his own. He's chatting to himself. He makes his bed, dresses himself, and then goes out for breakfast, and mom gets breakfast started. Might be eggs, might just be a granola bar, or it might be cereal, whatever. And they sit down together. He will get silverware out and pour some juice, so he's part of that experience. The 5-year-old is, and the 2-year-old is, watching all this, and they're having their conversation, and then they clean up together. The 2-year-old will, hand things off. She's not doing a lot of cleaning yet, but she will be soon. Then the family, at about 7:30, I think, everybody's been ready. They've put their things away, and they start off to school. So they drop off baby at daycare, and then Buddy at kindergarten, and they go through their day. Then at the end of the day, Buddy and mom, so kindergartner gets picked up first, and then the baby, they head home, and they get a snack, sit down with, the baby is kind of hanging out close by, and the kindergartner works after that snack time for about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, reading, doing some math practice. Mom is really wanting him to, education, like I said, is very important to this family, so they do a couple extra things on the computer that she has for him, but it's no longer than half an hour, and then he is off to play for about an hour, and mom interacts with the baby, checks on him, does some of her own work, and then they start making dinner together at about 6, I think, and if she hasn't put something in that morning in the crock pot. By this time, Dad is sometimes getting home, but so interacts with the family, and then continues some of his own work that he needs to do. And then they have dinner as a family, and then after that, Dad becomes a lot more involved because he's been gone for the day and wants to interact, and so he takes on especially with the kindergartner, doing a bath routine, but with the baby too. I think they put him in at the same time, and then they go and put on pajamas. The baby is put in pajamas. They read 2 or 3 books, and then lights out. And then mom and dad go to the living room, and they get their time together. At this point, it's like 7:30. They visit for, half an hour or so, maybe get a cup of tea and sit on the couch and then watch some TV together or read. And then they're in bed by like 9:30 or 10. And every Saturday, so throughout the week, they practice simple habits like, after they have a meal, they clean up, the kindergartner wipes the table. Same thing with after dinner. They do the dishes right then as a family, put them away as a family. And then on the weekends, they do laundry every Saturday as a family, and they clean as a family. So the bathrooms, the vacuuming, and that's it. So they get that done for like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and then they go and they have some family time together. They have rest time, and so that works for this family. You might be thinking, that would never work for my family. We have, first of all, I'm basically on my own. I don't have somebody to help me in the evening. that definitely changes things. Or, you know, my son or daughter is throwing tantrums, so everything gets slowed down. We're always running late. They won't listen. They won't get dressed on their own. Or your situation might be, you know, we have gymnastics on Monday, soccer on Tuesday, art on Wednesday. You know, we're always busy. So the most important thing is for you to decide what you want. There's nothing wrong with those things if that is what you want. What I really don't want to do is be one more voice telling you this is what it should look like. Instead, what I want to do is empower you to be conscious of what you want your family to look like and to find the joy in that. So if it's really important for you to have your child involved in a lot of activities, then that's going to take precedence over some of those other routines. And you will build routines around that instead. Other things will be sacrificed because that is important to you. What I encourage you to do, though, is make sure that it's important to you. Not important to your neighbor who thinks your kid should be on the chess club. Not important to your mom because she thinks that so-and-so should be getting 2 hours of math every day. Make sure that it's the priorities of your family. This is what we want, and our activities reflect our values and our goals. And then you can build a routine around that. Routine and structure can happen in any context, but you're always going to be trading things, right? So in the family that I described, on the days when the kindergartner has, I think it might be karate right now, I don't remember. When he has karate on, let's say it's Thursdays, that completely changes the afternoon. So there's a separate schedule for Thursday. On Thursday, they do their reading, so their homework in the morning, which means that they get up half an hour early on Thursdays. Now, some people might just skip that. Like we just no homework on Thursdays. Is one more right than the other? Yeah, depending on your values. So for some of you, I would never give up that homework time. For some of you, I would never have my child wake up half an hour early. Well, then do you, babe. Whatever you value most, do that. But the point is to empower you to feel like you're making choices on purpose, that it's not out of control. You can create structure around whatever you want your family life to look like. That being said, I will be doing another video, probably next, talking about the difference between consistency and perfectionism and having unrealistic expectations of ourselves. So I hope that this has been helpful on your journey to create routines and structure. I'm really interested in the challenges you're facing, the ideas you have, what's working for you and not working for you. Please leave those comments below. There are also resources on the Playground website that's listed below. So reach out if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. See you next time.